What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video we are going to talk about the different classes of spell in Master of Knights. So we have 5 different classes here, and every class is doing something specific, okay? You have some stuff in common with all the classes. For example, you have some cards capable of removing buffs on enemies to cleanse your heroes for the holy and the protection. You have some heals between these two. You have some attack decrease, attack increase on your heroes, but all the classes have some specific assets. So let's talk about the destruction one. In my opinion, this is the worst one. It has mainly some damage to inflict on enemies with some burns. If you want to know what is a burn doing, if you click here, for example, on that icon, then it describes the burn. At the start of every turn, the target is going to take 5% of his max HP in damage. Really interesting to kill the enemy passively, okay? So, the specificity of the destruction spells are to deal a lot of damage and some damage over time. And this is mainly the purpose of that class here. For example, here you have some remove buffs, deal some damage, and deal some delayed damage on the next turn, okay? You have a lot of delayed damage on this kind of cards. And this is not to kill instantly the target, but over time, as I said. Here, same thing, you have some damage here, another damage, one more time. You have a mainly damage here, attack decrease, burn, and a stun, okay? It's not really common on this kind of spells to have some controls, and this is the only spells with an unhealable debuff on the target. So with unhealable, the target is going to receive less heals during this effect. Really interesting. So you have many burns, damage, attack down, damage, stun, burn, damage, burn, damage, unhealable. This is the specificity of this class, okay? So it's dealing only damage, unhealable, burns, damage over time. Interesting if you are lacking some damage, if you have some heroes with some controls, but to control enemies, I think it's better to use spells because you can control them instantly. You don't have to wait a skill condition count, and so it's better. In my opinion, it's better to use spells to control enemies or to protect your heroes, because this is the kind of stuff you can't do with your heroes, okay? You can inflict damage with your heroes, you can't protect your heroes, you can't control the enemy, or you need to wait a certain amount of skills count on your heroes. Then you have the holy and the protection. What is the best? Then it depends. They are doing different things. So both have a lot of heals and both can cleanse your heroes. You have more cleanses in the protection spells, but here you have some more attack decrease on the enemy and attack up on your heroes. Also, the specificity here, if you have a look, you have some cards that can give you twice attacks on one hero in one turn, giving you a big advantage, because if you have that on your hero, you are gonna deal way more damage depending on your hero. Imagine having an attack buff on that specific unit, you have also the consecutive attack, then you are going to deal a lot of damage. And against bosses, it has a huge advantage also. Many heals, remove buffs, remove debuffs, attack down, attack up, really interesting. Also, you have some other controls, shackle here, so enemies with that debuff cannot move anymore. A really interesting spell. Stun, you have a stun, you have an attack increase, AP +1, really nice, and you have also a spell with AP -1 on the enemy, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. Let me check. Remove debuffs, okay, you have a lot of cleans, remove debuffs one more time, no, it's not here. Really interesting set, and especially against bosses, I think this is better. We are going to talk about the protection one now, because the specificity of that kind of spells is to protect your heroes. So you're gonna have many shields with that, and if you have a shield on one hero, then your hero is gonna take 0 damage with an attack on him. Really interesting. Look at that. Remove debuffs, heal a lot, defense buff, so you're gonna take less damage. Yeah, you have a lot of defense buff and shields on that class here. So in terms of PvP, it's really important to use a protection. Maybe it's the best one to use because all the others can put some debuffs on your heroes. You are gonna be able to cleanse with these spells. Really strong. You're gonna be able to heal your heroes, get more AP, get more defense, shields. That class of spell is just amazing for many content. In fact, all content. Imagine having a shield when you are fighting against the boss. You are gonna nullify the damage. It's gonna be really strong to deal more damage. You are gonna have a heal, defense buff on many heroes, defense buff again and heal, remove debuffs, attack increase, and yeah, this is really powerful. In that spell, this is a blue one, you have both heal and remove and cleanse. Amazing. You can move your heroes to a different ally location. This is important and it can be game changer. Imagine having a hero on the contact, then he's almost dead. You want to move the hero to another location. It's gonna be really strong. That one to have more attack on your heroes, really strong. Heal, defense, remove debuffs, heal, shield, defense, remove debuffs and heal, shield again, spell +1, really strong, amazing spell. Here, move the target ally to an enemy location. It can be so powerful if you are using a thief, for example. You can move directly behind the target, really strong. Here, another shield. One of the strongest shield in the game, the core shield. Ignore damage 3 times. You can tank 3 attacks. Amazing card. One of the strongest one in the game. And also it heals your hero and remove debuffs. That one is just god tier. And here heal multiple heroes. Probably the best spells are in protection here. Then you have the wild one, and we are going to talk about the dark one in last because this is the one I'm using at the moment. That one, remove buffs, attack decrease on the enemy. It's more like disabling the enemy. You have some poisons to deal some damage, and if you are wondering what are the poisons, every time an enemy with under poison moves, they are going to take 10% damage. 10% of their max HP in damage. Okay, so if you have a poison on you, just don't move, so you won't take any damage. Then you have more damage, poison damage, remove buffs, trap. This is a trap. You put the card on one tile, and if the enemy goes on that specific tiles, then he's gonna take some damage and he's gonna be controlled. But it's a bit hard to know where the enemy is gonna come. Move the enemy to a random location, really interesting spell. Poison attack decrease here, trap, another trap inflicting a stun, trap, poison, move an enemy to a random location, pull the target to you. It can be really interesting. To move the enemy is really strong, and to move your heroes is also really strong. And you have a lot of that in that specific category. Here, poison, damage, and move to a random ally location. Pretty interesting to move the target one more time. More damage, more poisons. Another trap, remove buffs, more damage. If the target has a poison, attack decrease. A lot of conditions to apply the things in this category. So the wild one, I think in my opinion, the protection is the best one. Holy is close, dark is close, but mostly for PvP, and destruction and wild. Wild is maybe better than destruction, and destruction is the worst one in my opinion. And here, push, move enemies also. And finally, let's talk about the dark one because this is the one I am using. Disabling the enemy team is absolutely the word of that category of spell. Look at that. Increase the target enemy's kill condition count +3. So if you have an Astaroth in front of you, if she's close to use her skill to nuke your heroes, you are using that on her, you are gonna disable her attack and increase her skill count by 3. This is insane, really strong. Here, if at the beginning of the fight, I love using that if I have that skill. You are gonna freeze all enemies at once. This is just absolutely great, and they are not going to be able to play because you are going to decrease their AP depending on the number of allies and enemies with debuffs. So you are going to control all enemies, so they are going to have no AP. So basically they lost the first turn entirely. This is amazing. That skill is one of the best in the game for PvP. Then you have that one, inflict a lot of damage, 810 damage. It's only level 10, and AP less 1 AP on the next turn for the enemy. Absolutely go tier 1, okay? And if you are on the second half of the fight, you are gonna remove 1 more AP on the target. Here, decrease the attack of all enemies and dealing damage to all enemies for 1 turn. Absolutely great. Here you freeze all enemies in the row. Absolutely great. And deal a lot of damage too. Here, remove buffs, big attack decrease. Here, attack damage to 1 single target. Here you can stun the enemy and deal some damage. Here you can freeze and deal some damage. Here you can, and for 1 AP only. Here you can inflict some damage and sleep. Here inflict some damage and stun. Here some spell. You can remove 1 spell of the target. This is so great. I mean, the dark one is so great to disable the enemy. Here, attack decrease, damage, okay, that one is bad. Here you have a freeze, here you have a sleep, and that one is just insane. Deal some damage and remove 2 spells from the enemy. Go tier 1. I love that. So, another thing about the spells here. You have different levels, it's increasing the damage and etc. of the spells, and you can engrave the spells. Engrave, that means you have to summon multiple times the specific spell. For example, here it's engrave level 2, and if I have enough spells, copies of that spell, I can engrave it. And so it's gonna increase the level cap here. I can increase the level using scrolls here, and then it's gonna be more powerful. I would recommend to do that, to keep your copies of spells and increase the maximum power of the spell instead of going in the altar, spell altar, and combining your cards here to create strongest one or stronger one, okay? I think this is most often in-game feature here to have more god tier spells. I would rather recommend to increase the engrave your spells instead of doing that. Same about extracting. You are gonna extract the spell, you're gonna get every resources, but it doesn't really matter to do that, and you can dismantle the spells, okay, to get some scrolls. I don't recommend to do that early on. It's more an in-game feature, or if you summon a lot of spells. Spells are really important. You want to summon spells, okay? Because you don't have only the heroes giving you a huge advantage in the battlefield. The spells are maybe better than heroes. You can basically kill the target using only spells. You can control them, prevent them to get some heals, deal a lot of damage over time, disable their attacks. Amazing. Spells are better than heroes. And you can use spells from range. And if you're using wizards, you can use wizard skills using spells. So in my opinion, you should consider summoning spells instead of summoning heroes. Then let's have a look to the arena. We are going to have a look to my team and how do I use my spells. So let's go. And as you can see, I have a lot of wins. So this is the team I am using, and you're going to see this is pretty strong. Just waiting for an opponent. Come on, find an opponent. It's taking time. It's taking time. Nobody wants to fight against me. Come on. Okay, I have to retry. Come on, give me someone. Open the gates. Perfect. We have a fight. We're going to be able to have a look to the potential of the spells, the dark spells. And it's going to be interesting if we fight against someone using the protection spells. Okay, let's go. I begin. Okay, skill condition count. I'm gonna save that one. Really interesting, okay? So I'm gonna begin attacking here. So you have 2 heroes from range, and I'm gonna do that. You know what? I'm gonna attack. He has his spell. It's okay. I don't mind. He's gonna put a shield on all heroes, but I'm gonna kill him. He's using the protection, so he has a shield. I can't deal damage with one attack on him, so I'm gonna move behind. I love doing that. I'm gonna do one attack here, and then I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna reduce the attack of the entire enemy team. A really strong one. Look at that damage on everyone. Okay, 0 because they had a shield, and less attack on everyone. Absolutely perfect. And now I'm gonna use that one because, as you can see, Astaroth is 1 away from her spell, and look at that. Now she has 4 and she has no attack anymore. No threat anymore. His turn, okay, he cleansed and he increased his attack. That was a great card. Now I have the Frost Rain, so I'm gonna use that here. Normally I freeze, okay, through 2 tiles away, so I froze only 1 hero. Now I'm moving here, increasing my attack on everyone. And now I want to deal more damage to that hero, so she has the less amount of HP, so I'm using that. So the 3 enemies are gonna take some damage. Absolutely perfect, great damage. Now I'm going here, so I'm gonna take 1 counter attack, and I'm gonna be able to use my spell here, so I can freeze 2 enemies and heal my heroes. I love that team. And now I just have to deal more damage. I prefer attacking using my Artemis instead of my Astaroth, even if my Astaroth has more HP, more attack, because if I'm using her, I'm getting an extra attack, okay? So I'm gonna go here, deal some damage here, use my spell so I get an extra attack with more attack, and here, she's dead. Now I'm gonna use that and kill that hero, and I have 2 AP left, so I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna kill the target, finish the fight. Perfect. So, this is how I'm using the dark spells. Amazing, right? Tell me what are you using in the comment below. I'm curious to see if you prefer another class of spell. Tell me that, and have a nice day. See you soon. Bye bye.